And, we get the New York news in Danbury, which is a federal women's prison in Connecticut. It's right around the corner from here,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And so we would get the news from New York in
Mhm.
the TV room.
Mhm.
And we kept hearing about this, and a book came out, Michelle Alexander, and then one of our dear comrades. We didn't know her then because she had come and gone in the prison. But Piper Kerman
Mhm.
was a dear friend of ours now and really supports the work we do.
Mhm.
She wrote The Orange is the New Black.
Mhm.
And then Michelle Alexander wrote the new Jim Crow book.
Mhm.
And so we're hearing all this stuff. We're watching it on the news. We're like, damn, this is real. And then we were women. So up the hill and down the hill in the federal prison,
Mhm.
there were at that time 2,000 women in the prison.
Mhm.
There were 200 of us in the prison camp up the hill and 1,800 women down the hill, overcrowded as crazy,
Mhm.
nasty living conditions, the whole bit, not because of any reason why the women who killed themselves to try and clean the prison for us. But, we kept hearing all this stuff about Obama was in office. He started, to
Mhm.
work on getting people out and considering what that looked like. And then eventually he did the Clemency Project 2014. But he started to visit federal prisons, all men's prisons. And so
Mhm.
we kind of raised our voices and like, well, hold up.
Right.
Because of conspiracy,
Right.
because of the separation, 85% of the women in the prison were mothers.
Right.
They had been separated from their children.
Mhm.
And because of the reasons that particularly Black women
Mhm.
wind up on a prison bunk.
Mhm.
And so we wanted to make sure that we left there not only because we saw the injustices up close and personal, but we wanted to make amends a lot for the harm that we had caused.
Yes.
And so, but we knew that it wasn't just us.
Right.
We had to take the indictment off of us
Right.
and put the indictment on the system,
Right.
a system that has intentionally oppressed and controlled our people.
Right.
So I'm really happy that you came. How do you like to be addressed? Because you have a few different names.
Yeah. So my family name is Bam Bam, because I was always like, into sports and stuff, so kind of tomboyish. So
Mm-hmm.
you guys can call me Bam Bam because it's
Bambi.
like my family. So
Okay, I like that. I like Big Brooklyn too.
yeah, that's my
Have
street.
you
That's my
met Big
rap
50
name.
yet?
No,
Out of Detroit?
no,
Oh,
not
girl.
yet.
Yeah,
Not
you
yet.
got to meet Big 50.
Not yet.
Yeah, she's like the big sisters of the bigs.
Really?
Yeah,
I gotta
but she
meet
goes
her.
by Big 50.
I gotta
But
meet
I'll
her.
make sure that you guys meet.
Yes,
That'd be a wonderful, beautiful conversation.
I would like that.
So Bam Bam, tell us a little bit about your experience with the criminal law system.
Would you like to know the good or the bad before?
Well, one, I just want to say there's no judgment here
Okay.
at all under any circumstances. We're all formerly incarcerated women. We have all been in the shits. We've done everything
Mhm.
and then done it again. So there's no judgment here.
Okay.
So when you say good or bad, I think it's all good because why? Because you're sitting here right now,
Right.
right? As the beautiful, amazing, very creative. I looked at some of your stuff. I didn't know any of you before meeting you,
Yes.
but just hugely creative. So there's no bad here.
Yes.
So, but there could be things that what we don't even call a crime, we call it a transgression
Okay.
because that's transformative language. You're never the same person. And you want to have an opportunity and you take advantage of opportunities, which we all have done to transform our lives
Okay.
and to not be the same people that we were.
Okay.
So take you whatever
Okay.
you think.
All right. So I'm sorry. I'm super nervous because I never tell my story because I feel like people won't understand, and they would like judge me. And like I said, I have social media platforms, but I told my wife that I don't want to do them because I feel like I would get so much negative, and I'm very sensitive. I'm big, but I'm sensitive, and I always want to tell my story of what happened in my first case, but I know that people wouldn't really understand and they would judge me. And everybody claim, everybody gonna say, "Oh, I'm innocent, I'm innocent." My second crime, I definitely did that. I was definitely not innocent. But my first crime, I was a kid and I should have listened.
How old were you?
14.
You were
Um,
you were a child.
yeah.
Hmm.
So my biggest thing was basketball. I done had dinner with Michael Jordan, Tiny Archibald, Kim Hampton was something like my godmother. I met Shaquille O'Neal. I went to Christ the King Regional High School. I had a scholarship for that. Um, I had dinner with Pat Summitt, rest in peace. That's the coach for UConn. I wanted to go to Tennessee so bad.
Because of your
Yes,
boss,
yes.
so
I
you're a
was,
baller. You know how to
yeah.
play ball.
I
Okay.
was number 11th McDonald's All American in the country.
Wow.
Um, my parents basically groomed me for sports. I did a little boxing. I did basketball. I did softball, and I did track. Um, I'm fat now, so you can't tell, but
You're beautiful.
thank you.
Yes.
But I was always broad, but I was a teddy bear. So when I was younger, I got picked on a lot. As you know, back in them days, black girls wasn't really pretty. I had nice hair. I had the clothes, but I didn't have the skin color.
Mm,
So I always got picked on. I got kids would like cut my hair, put glue on my hair.
mm,
They would beat me up, and my family would say, "Why you don't fight back? You stronger than all of them." I just don't wanna. I don't like to fight, right?
mm-hmm,
So I got kicked out of. Before I get to that, my father, he's very strong, right? He was something like a Black Panther. He's 70 now. He was like, "You gotta fight back. You gotta fight back." I said, "Daddy, I'm not a fighter." And he's like, "I put you on all these programs. I did. I don't know if y'all remember the Jackie Robinson
yeah.
program, all of that. Like I did them after school. I did karate. I ended up being a yellow belt. All of that. And everybody was like, "You can fight and you're big. Why don't you fight? Why you keep letting people beat you up?" I said, "I don't like violence."
Mm-hmm,
So one day, I would never forget this day. I was in seventh grade, and this girl kept bullying me, and I was a pretty black, she was the ugly black one. That's what I was saying when I was younger. And she we call her Icky Vicky, and she kept
mm.
pushing me down on the floor, trying to spit on me and do things like that. I don't know what got into me. I just grabbed her and I threw her across the room. I just started punching her. She started bleeding really bad, and they had to call the people. They had to call security. And when I went home, I just knew I was crying because I'm gonna get a spanking. I just knew. When I went home, my father took me to the store. He bought me a camcorder and he said, "That's my girl." And I didn't understand. I was like, "Daddy," but he was like, "No, I don't want you to hurt nobody, but I want you to stand up for yourself. Like, stop being bullied." When I found out how strong I was, it was over after that. And I started to become a bully.
Meaning it empowered you in
It
some way to.
empowered me because I
Mm-hmm,
didn't know my own strength.
mm-hmm,
And I started to become a bully now because now I got respect that I wanted. I finally started being popular. Like all my life, like in school, like I was the eyeball out. No boys like me because I always wore straight backs or I wasn't pretty like the other girls. After that, people started showing me respect and everything of that nature. Um, so I kind of started changing, but I didn't let my parents know. So I lived a double life. They know me as my first name Fatiha, but I had two different sides. I had Bam Bam and I had Fatiha. My parents only seen Fatiha.
mm-hmm.
So then I went to seventh grade. I ended up going to my 11. It was a great junior high school. I get kicked out because I started rolling with the kids from Tilden High School. My coach was also my computer teacher. One day I cut school for my first time in my life. My parents found out, so I had to go to school around my way. When I went to school around my neighborhood, that's probably was the worst thing for me because I got more and more in the streets. But again, my parents didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I still play basketball, so I played it really good. I ended up going to Christ the King Regional High School. That's a Catholic school. When I went there, I started doing my thing. I had an English teacher named Miss DeGenero. I'll never forget. Um, it was this Italian guy, this boy. He kept being fresh with me. He kept like rubbing his hands on my up my skirt, doing different things like that. I kept telling the teacher, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. You know, just." One day, he touched my butt from under my skirt, and I stabbed him in his hand with a pencil. This is when my life went downhill, and I'm gonna tell you why. They kicked me out, and I was the best school I ever was in, and I was crying because they didn't give me that chance. Um, to explain that he was up my skirt. They didn't care that he grabbed my butt. They only cared that I stabbed him with a pencil in his hand, and it made me look violent. A couple weeks before that, an Italian girl. I had a young boyfriend named Ricky. He was Italian, and usually Italians supposedly don't like blacks, but she was in love with him. She threw pizza in my face, threw coffee in my face, and smacked me. I went and told the teachers. They didn't suspend her. We was at the pizza shop. I took her and I threw her over the pizza bar. I ended up getting suspended. At this point, I was just done. They put me in summer school. I went to summer school. I went to Benjamin Banneker where I met this young lady. Like I said, I don't want to say her name yet. Because I still have a year order protection. It was a 10-year order protection, and it's up next year. I met this young lady because we were growing up as friends. To me, she was the most beautiful, popular girl. She was blood. She was in non-tray, and she played basketball. She was captain of the basketball team. Every time we sat at lunch, people surrounded us, and she said, "You want to come home?" I said, "What does that mean?" So you want to be blood? I said, yeah. Like, why not? This was 2007. I was in ninth grade, my first year of high school. She said, okay, come to the park. I went to this park, and it was a lot of boys and girls there with all these red flags. And I'm confused, like, what's going on? She's like, all I want you to do is just fight. I said, you want me to fight all these people? She said, yes. I stood in a circle. I got beat up real bad. They was fighting me. I got stabbed twice. Run right here with screwdrivers. But I ate it. After that, she took me to her house. She gave me a hug. She wiped me down, took the blood off my face. I went home. My parents said, what happened? I said, oh, I was playing basketball and we got into a scuffle. They didn't say nothing else about it. At that point, I was now Bam Bam non Trey. So I was her little bloodette. She's my leader. And she just had me do different things. She'd be like, okay, go still. I went to go still. She'd like, go cut that person's face. I cut the person's face. At this point, I couldn't hide it no more. My parents knew what I was doing, but they didn't say much. Mind you, I'm the baby. So my parents are very older. My parents had me after 40. So I was doing this, I was doing that. I was having the time of my life. I was popular. People feared me. Guys liked me. Um, I end up dating this Crip guy. He was Haitian Mafia Crip. And my drop found out, and she was like, that's a no-no. She said, I need you to go to their house, take their books, and bring it back to me. I said, how am I gonna do that? He said, find out where they live. So we all went to the beach, and me and the young lady who I was under, who I adored, she said, come on, let's go to their house. We're gonna act like we wanna have sex with them, and we're gonna steal their stuff and bring it back to. So I'm like, all right. When we go there, everything went totally wrong because me and the guy, one of the young men, I was 14, she was 16, one was 18, one was 19, one was 25, 26. There was a lot of guys. We were supposed to have sex with all of them, but the thing about that was I was still a virgin. And when you younger, you lie and say, "Oh, I'm not a virgin. I'm not a virgin." I was a virgin. So the only thing I could do was give oral to the guys, and I had to do that so she can go steal the stuff. They end up finding our flags. I kept my flag under my shorts, and she kept her flag under her skirt. When they found out we was blood, they locked all the doors. She was basically saying, she's a virgin, leave her alone, talking about me, and they was like, they don't care about that. So they was like, I'm gonna let her go get us something to eat, but if you don't come back, what time it is, whatever. So I went right across the street to this Chinese restaurant on Bushwick. I got something to eat, and I came back like they told me to do. So the first instinct, everybody was telling me to run, but I realized even as a young age, I'm not gonna leave her in the house by herself. It's nothing I can do, but I'm not gonna do that. So when I came back, it seems like I was the one set up because she was having sex with them. So I looked and I'm like, you okay? What's going on? She was moaning, having fun, having drinks, smoking with them. So I'm confused, like, that's not what we came to do. All right. Long story short, they ended up letting us leave. They was like, just don't do that no more. Da da da. Y'all cool, we cool, whatever. It was very weird. I went outside and I started crying because I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. She was like, don't worry about it. This was a Thursday. I remember because we cut summer school. Back then, summer school was not off on Fridays. It was Monday through Thursdays. I go back to school that weekend. I guess she been trying to call me, but I've been at basketball camp. And she told me, she says, oh, we're gonna go back and get their money. Let's go to
So
the
you were balancing these two
yeah,
lives
yeah. She said, let's go back and get
and
their money.
still wanting to do basketball,
Yeah,
still wanting to do.
yeah. Because Christ the King told me I can come back if I get good grades in summer school. They said they'll give me another chance for the 10th grade. So okay, I went and she called me a Sunday and she was like, um, my parents are sending me down south. And I was like, oh no, like, no, we can't have that happen. So we came up with the plan to say that the guys raped her so her parents would feel bad and keep her here. Now, I knew something was wrong with that plan. I didn't really want to do that. She said, meet me at the precinct in a couple hours. I said, okay. I never showed up. Monday morning, all her Crip friends, I went to Benjamin Banneker. They called my name. I came out in the hallway and they all beat me. All the Crip girls beat me real bad. And they, the first thing I did, jumped up and I put the fire extinguisher on them because I'm like, what's going on? I was swollen, my mouth was busted. I'm like, what happened? She's like, you got my friend raped. I said, what? What I do? They automatically called the cops. And I couldn't understand. I'm calling her phone. She's not answering me. She's not answering me. I'm like, my mom comes. I'm confused. Like, like, what is she talking about? the story was, and I found out later that the cops came. I had detectives. They had on these suits. I never forget. They came to my house. This was, I'm gonna say, July. My birthday. I was 14. My birthday, July 17th. I turned 15. Detectives came to my house to speak to my dad. It was a white one, a black one. I never forget. They showed me pictures of these two gentlemen that was at the house, and they asked me, "Do I know them?" Of course, I'm gonna lie and say no, I don't know them, because you never supposed to agree with the cops. So I said, no, I don't know them. They went on MySpace at the time. Mind you, it's 2007. They seen me, the young lady, the guys all on the beach with guns in our hand. They said, that's your first lie. The detective, the white detective, my father ended up getting about to fight because he's saying, you're dumb. You're going to take up for these little, assholes or whatever. So I'm crying because I don't know what to do. I then get that phone call after they leave. They said, we'll keep in touch. I get the phone call from the guys, and they basically told me, if you say anything and you go with this, they said the B word, they said, we're going to kill your family. So I'm thinking, like, first of all, I don't want my family to know what I'm doing. I was more mad that they knew that I cut school and that I was dealing with boys and I was not having sex, but having sex. So I'm like, I didn't know, I was young. So I'm like, you're going to kill my family. So I'm not going to say nothing. Boom. This is October of 2007. I get a call. My family getting called. I remember this because this is when we ain't have the internet. You had to take the phone, plug it in the wall. So I was on the phone. I was on the computer. And they said, come down to the precinct. They told my parents to come down to the precinct with me. I came down to the precinct. I went to the precinct. I'll never forget this day. I was hungry. My mom got me a drink. Some heroes. They was like, oh, don't worry about it. She's just going to ask some questions. 5 hours later, they said we have to take her to Central Bookings, something called Central Bookings. My parents was crying, like, why she got to go to Central Bookings? I went to Central Bookings. I seen, it was disgusting. They handcuffed me to a chair separately because I was a minor. Next thing I know, they said we have to take her to Spofford. I didn't know what was going on. They took me to Spofford. My bill was 15,000, 15,000 over 15,000 or something like that. My parents paid it after 30 days. I was in there. When I came home, I remember my father bought me a sidekick slide. He's like, everything gonna be okay. I end up going to Supreme Criminal Court. My judge was Judge Parker. I'll never forget this. I had Harvey Herbert as a public attorney because my family couldn't afford an attorney. Next thing I know, I was being charged with accessory to rape. Me and the guys, one of the guys was in the army. He got dishonorably discharged. So we all here like, well, I'm calling her phone. She's not answering me. Her boyfriend ended up picking up the phone one day. I said, why would you do it? He said, she don't want to talk to you. You should have complied. This comes with the territory. So I'm like, what? I'm like, all right. At this time, I'm still blood. I'm still gang banging, but I'm like, nah, this it don't work like that. Like this is not like this was my big homie. She brought me home. She taught me everything I know. I adored her. She wouldn't do this to me. But I'm young, so I'm thinking it's a game. Like this comes with it, whatever. I'm tough. I'm in jail, right? Okay. I end up fighting this case for 2 years. Judge Parker told me that as long as I continue to go to school and get good grades, that she'll let me off interim probation, which is a 5-year probation for kids. If you do good, they'll let you off and they'll wipe your slate clean when you turn 18. During that time, it was too late. At 17 years old, I met the first guy that I ever enjoyed. I got my virginity taken a year later at 15. I didn't like it. It was the most horrible thing. But I kept having sex. I kept having sex with older boys. For some reason, older boys are the ones who like me, not really younger boys. So I did it because I couldn't say no. Every time somebody said, can I have sex? Can we have sex? I said yes, because I wanted them to like me. So um, after that, I finally met a guy that I actually wanted to have sex with. His name was Devon, and we were like Bonnie and Clyde. He was 103rd Grape Street Crip, and I was Blood. We met this guy named um, Drama. He was the leader of Haitian Mafia Crip. He was one of the scariest men in East New York. He came with these two girls. They were Crip. They was twins, Kesey and Kiana. They was the most scariest girls I have ever seen in my life. Like when I say thug gangsters, like, and I was petrified of them. And for some reason, they took to me. They liked me. They like me. Don't usually like, um, they call me slobs. That's what they call as a disrespectful man of the Bloods. And they was like, well, we like you. So I was like, thank God, because I'm playing in this role. Like I'm not really like I will do it, but my heart, after I do something to somebody, I feel like crap. They actually live this life. I'm over here pretending to be something that I'm really not. So I'm fighting this charge. I finally, Judge Parker called me. I had my last day. She's like, you know what? You've been doing your thing. I'm gonna let you off. Me and Devon got into it. It was a big brawl. I couldn't take it no more because I feel like I done sacrificed so much for him. He done disrespected my parents, and I just lost it. I went outside and I kept stabbing him, and I kept stabbing him, and I cut his face, I cut his neck, I cut his ear. I just kept cutting him, and I was just angry because I just felt like, how dare you kind of mess with another girl? You think I messed with God when I did all of this for you, and then I let you go after you cheated on me, and you throw glass at my parents' house. You call my mom house with females, calling them all types of bees. You disrespect my house. And I tell people that I said, I don't care what you do to me, but when it comes to my loved ones and my family, I'm going to lay my life down every time. So my mom was screaming, crying. I was leaving the door and I heard a glass. I know it was Devon. My mom was like, please no, please no. She got my father. But at this point, I was uncontrollable. You can't control me. I left the house in all black, went to East New York by myself with my knife, and I was looking for him. I knocked on all the doors, or his homeboy doors. Nobody answered. I finally knew where he was. I seen the girl come out. I hit her. She was scared. His homeboy didn't do nothing, and I just closed my eyes, grabbed he had on a merm. I grabbed it, I ripped it, cut it open, his face. When I looked up, it was blood everywhere. So I just took off. Pew. I went to the C train, took off. Next thing I know, no, I ran after him first, and then I went the other way. Next thing I know, his grandmother was calling my moms and stuff. I end up going to I ended up getting locked up the next day. They called me down. I knew what time it was. I got locked up. This time they take me to Rikers Adolescent Building, Building 6. I go to Building 6. I'm in that building. I'm calling his phone, like, why would you da 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 da? Like, I'm leaving voicemails. I get somebody says you have a legal counsel. I go there. They like, yo, he died. I'm like, he didn't die. They like, yes, he did. Boom. I'm crying because I'm like, what did I do? I get another phone call. Well, when we go downstairs to legal counsel, I call my parents or whatever. They come and see me again, and they like, he didn't die. He convulsed, something like that. He convulsed. They brought him back. He lost too much blood. They're getting you for attempted murder. I'm like, they said it's better than murder. They was only gonna give me 5 years. That's what they were saying. Then they said no, it's assault on the first, and I never knew that assault on the first is worse than attempted murder. I didn't know that, and they said it was. So I'm like, okay. Then I'm working on my second felony. I called the other big homies, and I was angry, and I did something I shouldn't have. I called the big homies. I told them where his grandmother stayed and his sisters, and I told them to go shoot up the house. They went and shot up the house. His grandmother's sisters was okay, but I shouldn't have did that. I was upset, and I did that.
So, um, here's what I want to do a little bit of. And I want to thank you for just your transparency and for your emotions. Those were a lot of hellish situations.
Mm-hmm.
And really, what strikes me about your story, which I know there's still a lot more too, that has a lot to do with trauma and pain, and ended up with you doing how many years?
10 altogether.
10. And you did them where?
To Conic first, then they shipped me. No, yeah, to Conic. Then they shipped me to Bedford. Then they shipped me to Albion.
And how old were you when you started that 10-year sentence?
17.
Right. So a lot of what you went through, you started to experience at the age of 14.
Mm.
And still, 17, you're a child.
Mm.
I mean, we've done studies about what they call brain development in children, and that our brains really don't develop into your mid-20s, that you really begin to have a fully formed brain that allows you to think more rationally and less under the influence. And a 14-year-old child who has gone through everything that you had to endure, and the only response to that was a system who thought that you deserved nothing but incarceration. And so these are the reasons why we wanted to do the work that we do at the National Council, because we wanted to find some way to create some way for there to be a way for us to identify and to support, because albeit you considered them, the ops or enemies or the other gang,
Mm-hmm.
these were all also people that had experienced a significant amount of trauma
Mm-hmm.
and other whatever the others were in their lives, because there's that old saying, hurt people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if we don't figure out a way to circumvent that hurt and to also help our children to understand the value and the beauty in all of you,
Mm-hmm.
we have children who won't understand that.
It's funny that you say that, because the first time, besides the one I ever endured, and I just want to share this with people, like, um, I am a lesbian, and people always, guys say why. The first time I really enjoyed sex was from a woman. That's the first time that they took their time with me. When I was dealing with guys, and they just did their thing, and that's it. The first amazing experience I enjoyed was in jail, and women makes me feel safe. You know what I mean? Like, besides my dad, I'm really not safe around. I don't feel too safe around, men. There's a couple of best friends that I have that I know, and cousins now, but um, people ask me if I had a chance to do it all over again, would I do it? And I'm gonna say yes, because
Meaning
prison
all of
taught
those
me.
experiences you just talked about, or
Like, they said, would you take your prison time back? I said no.
would you take your prison time back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, the I feel like if I didn't go to jail, I'd have been dead though.
Hmm.
That's why I'm like, I w- I w- I'm not gonna lie, I missed a lot of stuff, and I'm 32 years old, and I don't feel like a 32-year-old. I feel like a 20-something-year-old. Like,
Hmm.
I feel like I'm not as smart as the regular 30-something-year-old. I feel like when they put me in prison, right? I was already a 17-year-old who didn't know much, because all my parents taught me was to go to school and play basketball. I didn't know how to clean correctly. I didn't know how to I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to damn near put my pad on correctly. I'm gonna be honest. When I went to jail, those were my first experiences. A female taught me how to put a tampon in. A
Hmm.
female taught me how to clean correctly. A female taught me how to cook. When I went to jail, I originally got my jail moms, and they told me everything. And I met some of the most beautiful people. One being Pam Smart, one being Tammy
Hmm.
Eldridge,
Hmm.
one being Remy. Like,
Hmm.
I met the most wonderful women, and it's like that experience, like that's my family.
Why do you feel that way? I mean, I think we all have had, and we hear it expressed all the time when we talk to sisters who have been inside. Why do you feel that way? What were some of those experiences? Was it to feel that there were women who were in the same situation as you were, who really understood, who
Mm-hmm.
cared about you? What was it that caused your prison family to be your prison family?
Well, when I came in again, I didn't know what my left from right. I didn't know what to do. Um, they took me under their wing, and they taught me what I need to know. I'm not gonna lie. It might be funny, but I learned how to gamble. I learned how to get money in prison. I learned I learned how to beat the system. I learned how to survive. Like, give me some noodles and tuna. I'll make you the best casserole ever. Like, I learned how to make something out of nothing. You need a tampon? Nah, don't go to the store. I got you. You need some
Take
ice
that
cream?
pad and
I got
bake it out the pad.
yes. Sometimes the Christmas, Thanksgiving, you don't have your family there. Not everybody get visits.
Hmm.
So you know what? We a family. Let's make these decorations while we in class. Let's come back to the unit. Let's put some up. Let's all get together. We have made food in garbage cans. I mean, of course, we cleaned out the garbage cans. Everybody bringing something. And if that person don't have nothing, you still feed them. You
Hmm.
still feed them regardless. Guess what? But they're gonna be doing the dishes after.
Right.
But
We
you
all
still
we
feed.
all had our jobs.
Yes, we. And like, even me working in the mess
Unlike
hall.
Virginia, I couldn't cook. I had all kinds of other jobs though. But
Yeah.
but here, our time is short, but it's just our first conversation. And I want to continue this conversation with you because, um, like we spoke to Kiera about earlier,
Mhm.
we're really making a real effort to reach beyond just the sisters who um, don't know necessarily about this vast and deep network that we've built of formerly incarcerated women
Mhm.
who have had very similar circumstances, but regardless of what landed us on that prison bunk, we were all on a prison bunk. We all did time, and we all know what it was like to be inside.
Mhm.
But our goal, and one of our co-founders, Virginia, is here, and our goal is to continue this work because we have this what other people cannot imagine, but we know we're
Mhm.
going to make it happen. We're going to win.
Mhm.
But our goal is to end the incarceration of women and girls.
Of
Our
course.
our goal is to say not another one. And we've created these buckets of work that we do, and lots of people join us in doing that work. But it also requires sisters like who we're speaking to today, who have a reach that I'm 60 years old, okay?
But you look good.
And well, thank you,
Prison preserves.
but I am. And, um, you know, I've had the experience. I was a trial lawyer. I was a criminal defense attorney and a real estate conveyance lawyer when I went to prison. And I was 45 years old when I went to prison.
Mhm.
So a lot of the things and a lot of the ways that we communicate information today, they just weren't around when I mean, I remember when the internet came about, and many of you young people, I have kids your age, children your age, they don't know anything about the old ways of communicating or
Mhm.
doing things, or everything came through a newspaper or a whatever, a
Mhm.
TV show or
Mhm.
something. And that's not the way things work anymore.
Right.
And the other reason is all of you have incredible followers. I don't even know if that's how you say it, followers. But you also have just this very unique life story and a brilliance that we need. We need your thoughts, your hearts, your experiences, and your minds to help us to figure out how do we reach those girls and young women who are continuing right now today to cause harm. Because if we can't figure out a way to, and we think we've created something called reimagining communities. We know that we can end the incarceration of women
Mhm.
and girls
Mhm.
in one generation.
Right.
But
Right.
it has to, you have to be a part of that because girls emulate you. Girls look up to you,
Mhm.
but you also have an experience that you understand what girls who are going through what you went through at 14 go through.
Mhm.
We all know what girls think about at 14
Mhm.
because we were all girls who were 14 at one time or another.
Right.
But you had a particular experience that is a kind of like this alchemy or this combination of wanting to do this, having talent to do that, causing harm, the blend of that, being harmed. And all of those things matter. And we need your voice to be a part of this,
Mhm.
but also to help us turn that corner.
I have a little LLC. It's called Felonous. So,
I noticed that. I
you
wanted to
see,
ask you.
yeah,
I know we have to wrap in a minute, but
yes.
Apollo, I just want to find out, like felonious. We have this thing about language. I'm gonna get a little preachy here, and I don't want to get preachy, but I just want you to know. So we've got this thing about language.
Mhm.
Like we've worked for 10 years to change language, because as long as you call me a felon, you ain't never gonna give me a chance to do anything else. As
Mhm.
long as you call me an inmate, I'm always gonna be an inmate. As long as you
Mhm.
call me a convict, I'm
Mhm.
always gonna just be a convict.
Mhm.
And so when it comes to the policy work we do, like when we talk amongst ourselves, we can say bitch, convict, whatever.
Uh-huh.
But in the terms of the policy work we do to try and change the laws that land us on these bunks, the laws that don't allow to see the humanity in us.
Mhm.
A 14-year-old girl that didn't need to go
Mhm.
to Spofford,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Like just crazy.
Mhm.
But when we change our language,
Mhm.
it helps us to do the policy work that we have to do,
Mhm.
because now you're bringing language that's transformative.
Mhm.
Like I'm a formerly incarcerated woman.
Mhm.
Now, felonious I actually liked because I thought it was pretty
That's
creative.
that's what, like,
But
cause women.
what is the idea behind that?
So, like, felon, you hear felon, you like, or people like, I'm kind of a, what do you call the person that like always has to like fight back? Like,
Uh-huh.
I'm rebellious. That's why I had a tattoo on my face, because people say nobody gonna hire you with that tattoo on your face. Oh, really? Okay, I'm gonna get the tattoo on my face because I'm gonna show y'all I can do whatever I want when I want. Like, I'm done having society dictate what I can and cannot do. If I want it, it's mine, and that's simple.
And how you go about doing it now, is that different for you than it was when you were pre 10 years in prison?
I'm learning. I still have my phases.
Mm-hmm.
Just to let you guys know, while incarcerated, I went to the therapy. When I was 14, I went out and I went to Brookdale. They diagnosed me bipolar and depression, dep- depression, and they said that it's bad because when I seep into depression, is deep. And they also told me I don't have a high, I don't have a medium. I'm either really high or really low.
Mm-hmm.
I took Abilify, Wellbutrin. I used to be on a lot of pills, which helped me, but it also took away my personality. And it had me like this. My eyes used to just be like this. And I stopped taking them. I got in trouble, but I stopped taking them because I feel like I can do it myself. I do have struggles. I do have outbursts. I do have a violent little peaks sometimes. And I cry to my wife because sometimes I can't control it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up and I'm down and I'm up. And I watch myself like out of body do crazy things. Like, a car can piss me off and I'll get out the car and I'll slam it. I'll
Mm-hmm.
slam my car in the car. Like, I don't physically be like I'm about to do this, but I just get so mad and so angry. Or when I'm happy, I'm just overly happy. Like, it's not, I
Mm-hmm.
don't have like a
Mm-hmm.
all right, chill. Like, and I watch myself and I'm like, that's bad. Don't do that. But I spoke to therapists, and like I said, I commend my family and my wife for dealing with it because I try, and I know it's not easy, but
And I think I I commend you for that, and to be able to recognize that, because I think in our healing, as we begin to transform our lives and heal to
mm-hmm,
so that we can advance our lives and be healthy and thriving people, I think the first step is to be able to see where we are. Where are we now today,
mm-hmm,
and where do we want to what are the things we need to work on?
mm-hmm.
Because there were times in all of our lives where we weren't even willing to or able to hear
Yep.
that bell ringing, like, okay, like it's
Yeah.
happening, right?
Yeah.
But you have transformed yourself to the place where you
Mm-hmm.
are today,
Mm-hmm.
where you recognize it at least.
Right.
And it's like a muscle. You
Right.
have to just exercise it.
Right.
But you also have to surround yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think your wife
Mm-hmm.
is somebody who is a good person for you
Yes.
and has the temperament that can help you. But you have to surround yourself, right, with people who know how to support you in where you are as a person today,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So I hope that this is just the start of a really great um, relationship and talking, so that we can figure out how do we move this issue along. We've done a lot of the hard work. We have a think tank. We do nothing but research and think and do this and work on this for the past decade. We've been doing this, and we think we're at a really good place right now and can really begin to influence girls in another way, and young women, and not to take away from their brilliance and what they think about things,
Mm-hmm.
but to get us to a place where not another one of us is sitting on that prison bunk.
And I would like to be a part of your organization because I don't know how to go about my felonies. Like, my felonies is for late women who get out a prison and they have low self-esteem and they don't know how to go to the shelter and get a voucher, they can call me and I help that. And you become a felonious woman. A felonious woman is a woman who done went through wherever you went through, but you came out strong and you still staying strong. That's a felonious woman. So I took the name that they keep calling us and
Mm-hmm.
I turned it into something positive. So I'm a felon? No, I'm feloness.
I got that.
So yeah.
I appreciate that. And we're here.
Sure.
We're here. We have a whole team. We got a whole nation. We got a whole team of sisters that can help you figure that out,
Yes,
including
ma'am.
us. Okay?
Thank you.
And I really, really appreciate it. I wanted you to just keep talking because I know how challenging and difficult it is to dig up those feelings and those memories,
Yes.
and sometimes it can be healing if we just can talk about it. And so I didn't really want to stop you from going on about it.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. And
Yes.
I know it's heavy to talk about. So thank you.
My pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.